Matt, can you give us an introduction on your background and your, what you made?
For sure. My name is Matt Field. I'm primarily a Unity environment artist and level designer, though I also do virtual sculpting and gravity sketch from time to time. And so my creation for the piece was a water spirit character, kind of just an abstract character, and I made it as a playable avatar, so you can look at the sculpture, but then also run around as the character within the level. So kind of adds extra immersion and like a sense of role playing into the exhibit.
Nice. And next to Matt, we have Marco Matic. Marco Matic, tell us about you.
Hi everyone. So I'm Marco Matic. I'm a is this really loud? Sorry, I just want to check. Is this too loud?
It's pretty loud. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'll just try and turn it down a bit.
Just whisper.
Just whisper. How about now? So, I'm Marco Matic. I'm from Victoria, Australia, and I'm a multimedia developer and creative technologist who works with augmented and virtual reality technologies. So I create a lot of, interactive storytelling experiences, both in AR and VR. For this showcase, I've created, the giant crab that you might have seen sort of scattered about on the ocean, but a meta manifestation that represents, the current issues we face with climate change and waste that we sort of pour out into the ocean. So it's sort of a reflection of that. So a lot of the AR and VR creations I create trying to have some sort of story behind them. There's some sort of narrative that goes behind each of the creations. So I hope you like interacting with the crowd when you get into the exhibition.
Yeah, Marco Matic made that amazing crab. You can check it out at Atlantis. And next to Marco, turn on name tag.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Glass Crane, and in level there, I made the guy with the big pyramid on his head, or forehead rather. But I'm a 3D artist and digital sculptor and motion designer, and I work primarily in the music industry, doing like live visuals and album covers and that sort of thing for musicians. And I made the transition into crypto art, and I'm trying to bring that sort of psychedelic, super trippy, visionary type experience to the crypto world. And just in my own way, I guess.
Awesome.
Good.
On Glass's right, we have Metageist.
Hello, yeah, I'm Metageist. I'm a digital artist, and I was a sort of like a 2D Photoshop artist and graphic designer until I used Tilt Brush, and then that has been something that I've just dived into headfirst, and in a number of ways made that my career, and then discovered crypto, and that's given me an opportunity to be able to use those incredible spatial art tools and actually make a system living out of it. So now I'm like fully immersed in the metaverse and really excited about that.
Amazing.
Oh, my piece is like a ball of scary tentacles, and it's something that, like, when I knew that this was going to be a deep sea themed event, that's the first thing that came into my mind, and I wanted to avoid it at all costs, and I tried to do all sorts of different things, and then it basically won and beat me down and came out. So yeah, that's how my piece came about.
Interesting. Cool. Trippy Yoga.
Hey, what's up, guys? Trippy Yogi here. Yeah, my piece that I made for this event was Depth of Love. And, of course, love spreading peace, love, and rainbows throughout the metaverse. So the goal with this one was just to dive super deep. Deep abyss theme. How deep can we go with our love? Sharing it with others. Sharing it with the new realities that we're all co-creating. And I just wanted to create a nice immersive environment for someone to kind of get lost in and just find a little bit more peace and love in their heart. And that's kind of the central thing for a lot of my art. traditionally, I'm more of a 3D animator, motion graphics artist that makes moving meditations. And more recently this year, I've been spending more time in VR tools, and so starting to port over a lot of my old experiences to this new medium, and look forward to the future.
Beautiful.
Awesome. And at the end here, we have Crypto Baby.
Hi, well, I'm Crypto Baby. I'm from Argentina, Buenos Aires, and I think I'm a new media artist, and I work with 3D and VR experiences. I mainly develop my environments in Unreal Engine. I also use Unreal Engine to make live visuals for music shows, electronic music shows, and I think for me it's all about mixing the sensitive world with electricity and water. That's why my piece here, Crystal Jelly, it's a creature that uses the energy of the water to move through space. I think that concept I take it to all of my pieces and environments. So yes, hope you like it. You can ride the the jellyfish, the crystal jelly, if you want to in the environment. And I think Atlantis in that way, it's like the perfect universe for this. So yeah, I'm really grateful to be here and really honored.
Awesome. So we got an amazing panel of artists over here. And to kick things off, I wanted to ask, how did you discover crypto art, and how did it appear in your life? And I guess we'll start out with Crypto Baby. We'll start out with you.
Oh, well, I think I've been working with VR and sensitive experiences mixed with technology for over 5 years, but sometimes it gets really difficult to live from that art to be like a sustainable activity. And then a few, like this year, at the beginning of the year, I was making a work with a friend, which Franco Erracina, which is crypto artist as well, Frenetic Void, and he told me like, yeah, if you want to really live from your art, you should start tokenizing your work. And so I did, and it went like really well, and now I'm like super happy just spending my time with my creative work and being like an independent designer. And yeah, I think that's it for me.
Amazing. And I heard Metageist was, we had a conversation earlier about people are actually making a living with crypto art. Do you see this as the future of work, Metageist?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm making that transition now, and I'm at the point now where I'm confidently working with my very last commissioned client. The work I'm doing for my local, I live in a tiny village in the fenlands of England, and I'm doing some augmented reality artwork for a blacksmith, like an 19th century blacksmith, and doing some AR versions of stuff. So it's still sort of related, but I've told them that I'm done working with doing that sort of work, and I'm fully invested in this. I've got so much belief and like a passion for the crypto art space. It's undeniably like a wonderful place where artists can do whatever the weirdest stuff that they want, and still be collected, and still be supported, and still have a sustainable income. And I'm really confident that this is what I'm going to do now. I'm really close to just saying, this is me. I am an NFT artist or crypto artist, or however you want to label it. And it's going really well. And I've spent 20 years as a freelance designer and artist, wanting to be able to monetize the weird stuff that I want to do. And what I've realized recently is that the things that I'm putting out are exercising old demons, old ideas from long ago that I hadn't found like a way of sort of expressing, because there was never going to be a client that would say, oh, yeah, I want a giant floating tentacle monster. So I'm getting those things out of my system. And what I'm doing is I'm people are supporting me. It's like they really are genuinely supporting my development, because everything I put out is something I haven't done before, and that's incredible. It's amazing to be able to know that if I push myself and I do something that just about works, because I'm learning new technologies, and somebody is going to collect that and support me, and yeah, it's been wonderful, and I'm 100% on this trajectory, and I'm surrounded by other people who are as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned support, because it almost looks like Atlantis is becoming like a game world, a video game. And when I see Marco Matic's pieces, it looks like it's from an MMO or something. Do you see like this as being like somehow like a fundraising mechanism for maybe indie games in the future? Marco?
Is Marco on mute?
Yeah,
I think he's muted.
He's figuring it out. It's all good, Marco. We'll go over to Matt.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Sorry, I had a few
It's all
technical
good.
issues. Yeah, I guess what's been really exciting about crypto art. So I actually discovered crypto art through a fellow Australian crypto artist, Giant Swan, and he's been making a killing in this space. And at first I was a bit skeptical, and I eventually jumped in. And essentially, what I've been able to do through crypto art is not just create art, but also funnel some of that funding over towards some of my own projects. So at the moment, I'm developing my own video game, and essentially the artworks I create are almost like video game concept art or game art creations, which essentially can be integrated into the game that I'm creating. So in a way, yeah, I've found that crypto art has been like a fantastic revenue stream to fund this game, where collectors can actually have ownership over the assets that will be in the game in future. So rather than relying on funding, which can be often bottlenecking and competitive, funding to fund your video game, I think crypto art has been sort of a release from that bottleneck. And I think in the last couple of months, I think I've made 30K alone just from selling work that has in turn gone into funding my own projects. So I think the amount of money that first I thought I was completely skeptical, but the amount of money you can raise for your own projects is phenomenal. So lately I've been encouraging with other game developers to go down this path of tokenizing some of their own game assets or artworks so that they can essentially fund their own games. So there's a lot of promise in that direction. So games, art, and crypto, I think they're more connected than anyone can imagine. So
amazing. Yeah, it's interesting because we have all these different crypto artists that are essentially collaborating in this world, and so maybe in this fundraising with this scheme, it could even become like a meta world that's created by a distributed kind of workforce in a way. So I wanted to kind of talk about collaboration a bit as well, because y'all collaborated on this immersive virtual art gallery. How was that process like for everybody? And I guess I'll ask Matt first, because you designed the world.
Yeah, so originally Anne from Superrare sent me like a concept image of just like an underwater scene, and she's like, can we go with some type of theme for this? So that was kind of the initial starting point for it, just the underwater idea. And then we just kind of got a Discord group together and started fishing for ideas, and people just kind of came up with their own ideas of what they envisioned for their own little part in the world. And then I kind of tried to fill different areas in so that each piece was like integrated more with the world than like a traditional gallery. So I really like playing with the idea of like environmental storytelling. So thinking about like what role would this piece have like in this world? It's just kind of a fun and exciting like challenge beyond just like creating like a four-wall gallery and putting pieces in it. You know, each piece kind of feeds in to the other one, and it's just like one big immersive thing at the end. But as far as the process, I know Mark said he had like kind of an idea for a layout, so we put a drawing together, which was the drawing that's above you. And then so I took that and then just did like a basic block out with just like simple cube shapes just to get a feel for the size. And then as I got the artworks from each artist, sort of just started sticking them in and see like how the space feels and just see how it all feels and comes together, and then eventually like reiterate over and over different like passes, you know, like a rock pass doing all the terrain and then doing all the foliage and then doing lighting. So it's all just kind of a cycle of just building on top of everyone's ideas and bringing it together.
Interesting. And Glass, yeah, I saw that your art piece, you rendered it in this other program and then you brought it into VR chat. What do you think about just interoperability in general, like being able to bring your art and see it in different ways, and you know, from animation to social VR?
Oh yeah. No, I mean it's honestly mind blowing to be able to build something in, you know, even in a 3D program from 2D is a pretty cool difference. But yeah, well, as a 3D artist, you know, I'm constantly able to kind of change the camera angle and fly around something, and then, you know, to be able to just hit a button and directly view it in VR is just, the immersion is insane, you know. And to be able to have a guy like Matt to put everything together like that so it all makes sense in a world that way, it really does tell a story, and it makes it just 10 times more immersive. And, you know, you can just crawl and jump all over your own art, you know.
Yeah. How important do you think the social aspect of viewing your art is? Like, did anything surprise you about that?
What do you mean?
Like, being able to just kind of like, I don't know, share like right there on the spot and bring other people to it?
Yeah, that's kind of a part of it too, you know. Like if you're in an actual, you know, physical reality art gallery, usually you would be there to answer people's questions and stuff like that. But you know, now we could just have a Mogwai just walk up to me and ask me a question, and it's already lighthearted. It's already, you know, it's already a good good break of the ice. Yeah. So it's cool because, you know, I also have another gallery as well where at any time you want, you can just be like, hey, you want to see more of my work? Drop portal down, you know. So I think it's definitely more of a lighthearted approach, but I think you can get a lot more done on the grounds of being able to relate to someone. You know, we're both sharing this VR experience together, and, you know, here's everything that we can offer you while you're here.
Fascinating.
Totally.
I have a question for Trippy, because your art piece, what did you make your art piece in, first of all?
Yeah, so that one was a bit of a journey. Metageist actually put me on to Gravity Sketch recently, and I've been in there nonstop. Like, thank you for that, first off. So yeah, all of the assets were digitally sculpted in Gravity Sketch. I took them into Cinema 4D, and I textured and baked the textures using Octane Render. So I have real-time rendering, ray trace, or physically based rendering for the textures, baked them all out so I could optimize them for game assets, optimized them, threw them into Unity to create the scene. And I'm still working on tokenizing the actual Superrare piece, but what I've done is I ported the Unity project over to Unreal, and I'm using some virtual production techniques to take the camera angles from like real handheld cameras, and I'm using that to compose almost this like little cinematic short based off of the installation that was built in Unity.
Amazing.
Wow.
You can tell there's a story in that piece. I can tell there's a story.
It took me on a journey. Yeah, it was fun though, and that's what's amazing. You mentioned interoperability. I think that's one of the best things about the crypto space and the VR space and how they intersect, like the convergence of the two. There's a huge emphasis on interoperability. I know Jin's worked on a lot interoperability between the different multiverse worlds, and it's being able to use these different processes. All of us come from a different digital background, but we can all come together and co-create these spaces together.
That's a good point. I mean, I'm sure the tools that y'all have used on this panel, like, let's go real quick. Like, what tools did you use to bring your art, your vision to life for this show? And we'll just go from Matt down the row. So, Matt?
I made the character for my piece in Gravity Sketch, but pretty much everything I do is in Unity.
Gravity Sketch in Unity. Okay, Marco?
So the original work, so I actually worked with paper first, so the textures were illustrated on paper, and then what happened is I turn the drawing into a texture, which then gets scanned into Blender, and I used Gravity Sketch to sculpt to model the crab, various parts of the crab. Then I bring that into Blender. I use my illustrations as the textures and sort of wrap it in onto the model, and then that goes into Unreal Engine where I do a sequencer rendering, and the render is then exported out as a tokenized video. So then I can use it both as a tokenized crypto artwork, but I can use it as a in-game creation. So it's sort of 2-in-1. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right.
Nice.
Last?
And then for my piece, I started off in ZBrush, and that's predominantly where I make the majority of my geometry. Matt kind of put me on Gravity Sketch as well, so I'm definitely going to be messing with that more. But so yeah, I start off in ZBrush, and then I usually move over to Cinema 4D, and that's where I'll do the lighting, texturing, rendering, and then I also do a lot of the animation in 3D as well. And then the corresponding Superrare token for that piece, I recently had gotten into Unreal, and I've been really enjoying the move to real time just because it's crazy being able to hit a button and it's just rendered 10 seconds later. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm learning like 3D workflows VR first. So I'd always been sort of intimidated by 3D programs, I think, and spent a long time doing 2D stuff and fascinated by 3D. And then Tilt Brush and Gravity Sketch came along. So I learned the modeling and the freehand modeling first, and I'm at a point now where I'm just learning how to sort of texture. So there are things like UV maps. I don't even know what that means. I know that rigging is something to do with animation, and I'm learning as I go. And like I say, what I'm doing is I'm putting out my experiments, and they're paying my rent, which is amazing. So mine was Gravity Sketch. I used the radial symmetry, which is really fun to use. You can just set up like 12 coming out from the center and pull the tentacles out, and then separate them so that you can move them all separately. And then I just created some gradients in Photoshop and added them, and so yeah, so I'm still sort of, I feel like a novice, but at the same time being able to put something out. So it really is just Gravity Sketch and Photoshop. That's all it was. Oh, and a bit of Adobe Dimension to like drag and drop the textures on. But I'm right on the cusp of starting to use something like Substance Paint, which is something that's been on my list for a long time that I haven't got around to doing. But I really need to sort of move step up and start using something a lot more powerful, I think. So yeah.
Awesome. Hippie.
Yeah, I think for this piece I used all of the ones that I mentioned. So those are the typical ones: is Cinema 4D for the 3D modeling, Octane rendering for the texture baking, Unity for the game asset stuff, and then now Unreal for the virtual production. And then as far as creating digital assets, Gravity Sketch for the initial concept creation, the things that are in the worlds.
Right. Well, I used ZBrush to make the sculpt. I love that tool because it really feels like you're doing it with your hand, like sculpting with your hand. So after that, I made the textures in Substance Painter, which I really recommend you to start using it. I think it's great because you can easily like paint like if you were doing it in a paper, but in a 3D model. So I think that is like an amazing tool. After that, I move on to Cinema 4D to make the animation, and then that's it for this video. Yes.
Awesome. Wow, there's such a diverse skill set and tool set here, and it all finds its way into like a neutral platform. VRChat's really great at supporting all sorts of styles. So that's amazing to see. And we're gonna finish this with one last question for the panel. I want to ask, what do you see as the potential of blockchain and art and VR in 5 years from now? So we'll start out with Matt. What do you see as where will we be?
I think right now we're on a pretty fast trajectory to more like thought out, like VR metaverses and like online games, like VR Chat or like Somnium Space and all these popular ones. But I think what I would personally like to see is more integration in between all of them. Because I personally get a little bit overwhelmed trying to figure out, well, which space do I play or which game do I play and where do I go and what do I do with that? I like how, at least working in Unity, like all these different programs can kind of work into that one game engine. So I think if the crypto space can kind of mirror how all these art tools work together, then like everything will feed into itself and become like a bigger connected thing. So yeah,
I agree with you. Marco, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. So 5 years from now, okay, I still think that the crypto art space is still relatively underground. I think, as more artists become more aware of it, and I guess as the world becomes more digital, which it is right now, and as AR VR becomes more ubiquitous and commonplace with the general public, I think crypto will be used in just about every aspect of digital digital assets and digital purchasing. So, yeah, I guess with that said, I think once the popularity comes out, I think it will be as common as purchasing items with crypto, from video games to purchasing accessories that you can wear in metaverse spaces. I think the community is just going to get bigger and bigger. So it's looking very promising. I think right now there's just a lot of skepticism about it because I think there's that sense of volatility. I think when people start realizing how to handle the crypto currencies better, then we'll see more of a mass adoption of crypto in all kinds of assets. So
Interesting. Glass?
Yeah, I mean, 5 years isn't a whole lot of time, but I can definitely see the crypto art market kind of mirroring, like Matt said, the like what video games are doing. You know what I mean? Essentially assigning more and more value to digital pieces. I know when I first got into crypto art not too long ago, the biggest thing that surprised me was like, man, these people are paying huge sums of money and supporting these artists, and and allowing them to live off their art and fund new projects. And I think the overall excitement of that happening right now is causing this big kind of burst of energy throughout the crypto space. And as VR and AR further develops, I think we're going to find a lot more inherent value in these, like whether it's a 3D piece or just being able to purchase a plot of property in Somnium Space or something like that. As those things become more widespread and gain more value, I think the art in turn is along with the music, the digital concerts, and all that kind of stuff will follow suit. So I think in the next 5 years, we're definitely going to see a bit of a convergence between, you know, what we're achieving in real-time game engines and, you know, the amount of art actually selling and being displayed, and just honestly things like this happening. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, and to carry on from that, things like this happening. This is a great example of what I see as the beginning of like a it sounds cheesy, but like a paradigm shift. I think we've all grown up in a world with we are animals with stories, right? That's pretty much all we are, and we have these mutually agreeable fictions like countries and flags and religions and all these things, but we also know that we're interconnected via the internet and we're on a rock in space. And I think that the metaverse is the next evolution in terms of like a global culture. And as janky as it is, and that's like I'm probably like crouching down and I can barely pick up this wine glass, this is the beginning of like an interconnected, immersive space where it doesn't matter what color you are, what sex you are, where you are, how rich you are, or whatever. You've got the capacity to share a space with people. And the internet, a lot of people were very optimistic about the internet, thought that was going to do that, was going to, you know, that was going to give us like a global community or whatever, but it's been hijacked and also it isn't immersive enough. It's in a browser, it's where you work or whatever. The relationships that I have with people in the room are as real as the physical relationships where I can like touch someone, and I think this is the absolute dawn of that. And I think NFTs and the blockchain are fundamental to a metaverse that is as immersive as the real world, because you have to have items and spaces and environments, architecture and people and avatars and clothing and all these things have to have like a value. And we've evolved to put value into things that exist in the real world that are maybe they're scarce, maybe they're not, but maybe they're ours or they're unique or whatever. And without blockchain, without some way of making something one of a kind, and for that to be mutually agreeable in a mutually agreeable, like a belief system essentially, then everything is throwaway, like an avatar or a dance in Fortnite or whatever. So in my mind, I see this like convergence of these two technologies to being fundamental to the evolution of us as a species, and we are at the moment just the sex organs of the machine mind, and eventually we're going to evolve into that, and this is part of that process.
Deep breath.
Wow. Yes. That. Trippy, what do you think?
Yeah.
5 years from now.
I think the future's bright. I mean, just like everyone else so far has said, we're literally co-creating the new world. I mean, we're starting to see, especially with COVID and what's going on right now, everyone's moving to digital first. You know, before it was snail mail to email. You know, now it's physical goods to digital goods, and pretty soon people will be spending a majority of their time in these virtual worlds, just because they're more hyper real, perhaps more entertaining. Perhaps it's less, you know, there's borderless. There's less barrier to entry as far as like traveling and visiting and experience new things and meeting up with different people around the world. Everything, it basically makes this, what was once global, now at the click of a trigger on your headset or your wand. And so what we are doing as creators is kind of building the foundation for this, and we get to bring in our ideas, and like Metageist is doing, you know, it's like living off your art. And the future of the economy is like this resource-based, value-backed economy where it's like tangible value is immediately exchanged for monetary value. And so creativity is now monetized at almost instantaneous level. And when that happens, people are free to create and do things with joy and do things with purpose, as opposed to having to do things because they're supposed to. And I think, you know, just that foundational why of what we do is going to just trickle into the worlds that we create and the experiences that we share with others. So yeah, I definitely see a bright future. I think that we're literally on the cusp. You know, we're just now starting to see a big influx of some artists that are going to really bring, I mean, all the artists so far have brought so much, and I think the influx that is about to happen is gonna, just be that one step closer to mass adoption. And once that happens, I mean, who knows where we'll be in 5 years, But I definitely see that crypto and VR space and the intersection and convergence of the two just totally exploding.
Yeah, it's like mac and cheese or peanut butter and jelly.
Exactly.
A crypto baby. What do you think?
Well, I think also that the future is bright. For me, I think it's important to think the future in terms of diversity and gender equality, like for maybe some reason in the physical real world, being a woman, a queer person is not that easy, but here where we got like this non-gender avatars, it's easier for us to develop. And also, I mean, I think there's still a gap with the something with the language, because I mean I learn English, but it's not my main language, and maybe now if you don't speak English there is a gap. So there are a lot of really talented artists from countries that they don't maybe speak, or they can't develop an English fluid communication. So I would love to see like more diversity in terms of different people, different genders, and also different languages. So I think more people can be involved in this. So yes, I mean we are. I'm in this group which is Crypto Argentina. We are like a group of people, digital artists from Argentina, and some of them they're having still some difficulties to understand some stuff because of the language. So yes, I think this is great. This is amazing, and we can develop a really huge and a beautiful world, which is really cool because we don't have a barrier. We just all met here from people with all over the world. So yes, I'm really excited to be part of this. So yes, that's all.
I agree. I think with accessibility to entering this world is going to open up global mass adoption markets and all that. That was really interesting to hear from all of y'all. I would like to thank all of our panelists. I would like to also thank hosting this show, Atlantis. Check it out in VR chat. It's a world that can do all of their art in. There are signs that you can see, and it's all tokenized on the blockchain, so it can be collected, it can be owned. This is kind of the start of. We're only at the very beginning here, and it's an exciting future, as we all heard. So, shout out to NIFTIES as well. We do virtual productions, like as you see here. And we love to bring together voices from all these different platforms, all these different backgrounds to talk to each other, because I think that's how we'll get interoperability between the platforms, and collaboration between artists is just first talking and gathering. So we build spaces like this, and yeah. So
can we get questions? Sorry.
Let's get some questions from the audience. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
If you have a question, I need y'all to come up to the stairs over here, because there's an audio override. So anyone for asking the panelists any questions, just walk up to the stage, not on the stage, but close to it. Well, looks like everyone...
I can hear Sabi laughing.
Don't be shy. We got one question. Yes.
Yeah, I was just.
Yeah, here we go.
Could I just talk? Awesome. I was just wondering what advice you would give to artists who want to get into the crypto space and are inspired by your example. It's not to a particular person, I'm just curious generally.
I would say just follow your gut with what like medium you want to get into or what style. Spend some time like looking at other people's art too. But I also think it's really important just to follow like the trait or thing that you think will make your art unique and stand out, because there's so much art out there, it can sort of be hard for people to discover it. So at the base, you want to, fulfill what you want to do with your art, and then hopefully everything else will follow.
And also, I would add that, I absolutely agree with that. Just it's the best space for doing whatever the hell you want, and for that to work. Like there are no rules, and everybody's excited by originality and idiosyncrasy of the weirdos in the space. But I would also say there's this barrier of entry where you start to think about it. You might Google search, and in the first sentence there's some acronym that you don't understand, or there's some like weird vernacular that makes it feel alien to you. Reach out to the community, because just like VR, like everyone in the VR community is an optimist and is a futurist and is confident about the space, and you'll find that actually, if you've got anyone to just help you for even just an hour, you can get past the weirdest, highest hurdles and find yourself on Rareable selling your artwork. It isn't as hard as it seems, and it isn't as alien as it seems. You don't need to know anything about cryptocurrency at all. If you've got someone to help you, and I will help anyone. I know a lot of other people who would as well, because it's really fun and exciting to bring people in, and there's room for everybody. So definitely reach out to anybody if you want to, and you're feeling sort of intimidated by it. Like, it isn't as weird as it seems. It's an alien environment until you're in the first door, and then it starts to make more sense.
Yeah, make what you love. It's like if you're making stuff that you enjoy making, you're gonna spend more time doing it. If you're making stuff you love doing, you're not gonna stop. You're just gonna be unstoppable. You're just gonna keep creating. And when you just make from that place of love over and over and over again, you continue to like dive deeper in yourself, deeper into who you are, and that is irreproducible. It's like a non-fungible token. Your personality, your identity, and what goes into your art is irreproducible if you're creating from that place of like yourself and what you love and who you are.
It's easy to be tempted to try and I'm going through this at the moment, this process of realizing that some of the things I've done are to sell, and actually this is the best opportunity ever to do whatever the hell you want, regardless of thinking about collectors or what is popular or what is trendy at the time. There's no need for that. In fact, like humans are drawn to that, drawn to passion. That's why we have rock stars and artists, and also we're drawn to like unabashed passion. So just do the weirdest stuff and the stuff that you really want to do, and inevitably you're going to stand out, because everybody really is quite unique.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is Happy Life?
Any other questions? Yep, we got one. Come up to the stage. Debbie.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Go ahead and ask. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey guys, have you started dreaming in VR yet?
So I played like 6 hours of Arizona Sunshine one time, and my depth perception got totally screwed up. And not only did I start seeing like the bounding box in my dreams, but I would go physically go to pick up a cup, and my depth perception was totally VR depth perception. So there's definitely a little bit of bleeding happening if you spend too much time in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's been a number of people looking into the relationship between lucid dreams and VR, and I'm absolutely fascinated by that, because what we're experiencing now is essentially a lucid dream. This isn't like the physical reality, but we're absolutely immersed in it, and we know we know where we're going to and where we've come from, but we're in this alien space, and it's saved in the same part of your brain as any dream or any experience. But you can dream in that hypnagogic state between sleeping and dreaming. You can visualize things, and actually some of those things that otherwise would be impossible in the real world are possible with these tools and with these environments. So there's always a crossover. But I used to have that with Photoshop. I spent 5 years making holiday brochures look better, making skies look bluer, and I would look up at a real sky, and my instant reaction would be, how do I improve this? So I think computer games and technology already do that, but when it's more I mean, I'm gonna go to sleep tonight. I mean, it's like 3:30 a.m. in the morning for me now, and I'm gonna go to sleep, and I'm gonna feel like I've come home from a night out with some amazing artists, and I've been on my feet all night as well, so my body's gonna feel like I've been here as well, and I'm inevitably gonna dream about this space.
Yeah, I've definitely dreamed in VR. It's such a trip, because like you wake up and then you're like, oh, what the heck? And then you like take off your headset, or like you take off your headset and then you're doing something, and then you wake up in your bed. You're like, what exactly just happened? You know? Yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah. Just before we came into this space, I nipped out to go to the toilet, and what was weird is that my bathroom in the real world was the unusual thing. That was the weird, it's high fidelity but boring, and I'm gonna go back to this.
Yeah.
Nice.
No problem.
Do we have any other questions?
I would like to see more environments and experiences that have the same sort of rules as dreams. I think the metaverse at the moment, and it's obviously how it was going to happen. We're still building walls and doors and all of these rules that we associate with the real world. But actually, all of these things like gravity and scale can go out the window. And I'm really excited for the metaverse that behaves more like a dream, where you go through a door into a shed, and it opens out into a landscape. And that sort of thing, and I think that in like Jin, the thing that you focus on, like that interoperability of these different spaces, and the metaverse is actually going to be a series of gateways into anything, and it isn't going to be streets, and it isn't going to be real estate, and it isn't going to be like blocks and things like that. And I think we're starting to get used to that idea now, but we were always going to start off with doors and steps and roofs and things like that.
I love that analogy, because dreams, like I used to play the LSD Dream Emulator, and it just connected these different experiences just by bumping into something. But like while dreaming, it is kind of like a seamless kind of transition from one to the other, and right now there's a lot of friction.
Yeah. There's no reason why we couldn't like have a doorway, and when we go through the doorway, we're there's no gravity and everything. All the rules are completely different.
That is fascinating. I think that's a great way to end this. So, wow, thank you all so much. We're gonna have wine and cheese in the lounge. Feel free to stick around and catch more of this amazing show, and see you next time.
Yay!
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Make it rain.
They need like a